On April 28th, 2021, a man walked into a police station in Crestone, Colorado, and told authorities that they would find an enshrined mummified corpse inside of his home. When police arrived, they not only found the mummified corpse, but a group of people living around it, not only eating, drinking, and doing their normal daily tasks around this corpse, but also worshiping it. Well, hello, oddballs. It's your host, Bobby.
And your co-host, Lexi.
And this is Oddities on Elm Street. Welcome back to the pod, and thanks for joining us on today's episode.
Thank you.
I know you're probably very excited.
Yes, I've been wanting to do this topic
For like a year.
Yeah, at least. Also, want to pre-apologize. I'm getting over a sinus infection, so
yes. It gets stuffy in here.
Yeah.
That's you and me both. I'm always, for whatever reason, I'm fine throughout the day, and then as soon as we sit down to record,
it's probably this basement.
It probably is. I'm so nasally, though. It's ridiculous.
Yep. So, yeah, just a heads up and a pre-apology.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, I hope everyone had a lovely Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It has been that long since we've been here. But today we're going to cover a cult. I'm very excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably one of the craziest I've ever heard of.
Especially, like, modern day.
Oh yeah.
It's like, is this for real?
It's hard to believe and wrap your mind around.
It is. So if you get lost, that's okay. That just means
we'll bring it around.
Yeah.
Full circle. But
yeah. But a lot of it doesn't make sense.
It's not meant to.
Right. Right. So if you're not understanding, that is good.
Yeah.
Right. So just remember, just keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind, and then I'm going to try to keep it from going off track. I think when we're not leading up to a specific event.
Right.
It can get hard to, we start going down little rabbit trails and stuff like that. But I've tried to structure this in a way that it's easy to follow.
Yeah.
At least for me. So if you're listening and then you're like, this has no solid timeline, I don't want you guys to lose interest, but it will come around full circle and you'll start to understand what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start by introducing our listeners to the Love Has Won cult, shall we?
Love Has Won.
So the Love Has Won cult was formed by the cult leader, a woman named Amy Carlson, and Amy goes by Mother God. So when we mention the name Mother or Mother God, it's meant to represent Amy.
Right.
The basis of the cult is that Amy, or Mother God, is a 19 billion-year-old being and a reincarnation of Jesus Christ, among lots of other people that we will get into later.
Mm-hmm.
And their belief in Mother God is so strong that they believed she could heal people of cancer just with the power of love.
That's all you need, don't you know?
The theology behind the cult involves a lot of conspiracy theories. Yeah. And this was all kind of coming to a head around 2020 when things like QAnon were gaining traction.
Right.
But the main belief was just that Amy/Mother God has been reincarnated 534 times to be exact. She was, of course, all of the important figures in her past lifetimes, because you can't just be some...
Joe Schmo.
Exactly.
Right.
And some of her past lives supposedly include Jesus, like we already mentioned, Cleopatra,
Duh.
Joan of Arc,
Duh.
Marilyn Monroe.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean...
There's just so many.
Can you think of anyone else important to throw in there?
They have a whole...
They have like a family tree.
They do. It's like a Galactic A team, but she wasn't everyone in there. It's very confusing.
Yes, and of course, it's not meant to make sense to the normal person. So, Mother God's purpose in this lifetime, according to her followers, was to lead 144,000 people into the fifth dimension.
Right.
I wonder why that specific number.
Okay, I was also wondering about that, and the whole, her being 19 billion years old and only have lived 534 lives.
That's a long lifespan.
I'm like, that doesn't math right. So
No.
I did the math. Okay.
Thank you.
Just to, because that's just me, right? So the average life expectancy for a woman is 81.2 years old.
Okay.
We'll call that just 82. Right. We'll round up.
Yep.
Fine. So 19 billion divided by 82 is 234,567,901. Wow. So that is approximately how many lives she should have lived in 19 billion years.
But 534 is the number she chose.
Right. So if you kind of look at it the other way, 534 times 82, the average life expectancy, is just a little bit less than 44,000 years.
That's how long she would have to live each lifetime.
Then we take the 234,567,901 minus the 44,000 is 234,523,901 years. Or 2,860,048 lives of unaccounted time. So, those are all big numbers, but basically, what the fuck was she doing in all of that time?
Yeah. Where the fuck were you, Amy?
Right. I mean, that is not...
I thought you were here to lead 100...
You're wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, the mission is to lead 144,000 people into the fifth dimension.
Right, okay. And so then for that point, the 144,000, I looked into that too, and it's a number that's seen a lot in Christianity, and for Christianity, it's seen as the number of Jews that became believers in Jesus, and then as well as Jehovah's Witnesses, who believe only 144,000 of them will be resurrected into heaven. Okay. And then also another little side note, the 534 years or lives that she
supposedly lived.
That is the angel number that signifies a spiritual awakening.
Interesting. So there is a little bit of logic here.
So not so much with the amount of lives that,
but they did their research.
At least someone went through and picked and pulled some little numbers from here and there and just smashed it all together.
Yeah. Well, that's usually how that happens. So. And what's also interesting is that the group claimed that Mother God was the queen of the lost continent of Lemuria. We're going to need an index for this episode specifically.
Yeah, what is that?
So what is Lemuria? Well, it was a continent that was proposed by a zoologist named Philip Sclater in 1864, and he theorized that the continent was lost beneath the Indian Ocean.
Right.
This was thrown out. It was discredited when the discovery of the continental drift came about in the 20th century, and that is basically what scientists believe have happened to create continents by the tectonic plates shifting and breaking up land. Because we used to be Pangea all together.
Right.
All of these little, masses of land start to shift and break apart.
Right.
So they have disproven that. But the idea of Lemuria was adopted as a real idea by many occultists, and they've taken that and turned it into a belief to kind of explain the human origin. It all seems like a lot of mumbo-jumbo, but it's kind of like the lost empire of Atlantis, which is another thing that this cult believed in. Some more beliefs that the cult held were reptilians, Anunnaki.
What is that?
Reptilians are...
No.
Anunnaki is, I'm pretty sure it's like an ancient people. Let me look it up just so I'm giving you the correct terminology.
Because I saw that and I was like, I have no idea.
So the Anunnakis, they are a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. They are supposedly a descendant of a type of god, the god of the heavens, the goddess of earth. And their primary function was to decree the fates of humanity. So they were like the puppet masters.
Nice.
They also took on a lot of the QAnon conspiracies. Like I mentioned earlier, they believed in this evil cabal that Mother God was supposed to save the world from.
Yeah, I saw, like, in one of their YouTube videos, it's, like, them talking about, like, all these people on QAnon are finally, like, realizing what's going on. They had no idea, but they've been followers of Mother God all this time, and they just didn't know. like what?
Oh my God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, this goes hand in hand. They believe that COVID was planned, that it was a big hoax. Sandy Hook, 911, and the Holocaust were all hoaxes.
Right.
Supposedly, Donald Trump was Amy's father in a past life. I don't know how that works, but...
Right. Again, math doesn't math.
Yeah, it's not mathin'. Also, Robin Williams is the top man in charge here. That's something very important you need to know. And the group believed that Adolf Hitler, the guy responsible for the Holocaust, he was actually just, quote, serving the light, whatever that means. They claimed that Jews wanted everyone else to do the work and they would take the money. The idea behind the concentration camps was to teach them how to work. And that's a direct quote. Which
Let's
is
just pause
so
for a second.
Shocking and vile.
What the actual fuck? I could not believe it.
To say that out loud. And for other, like, to say that in a group and be like, I wonder how, I'm going to test the waters. I wonder how they're going to react to this. And then for everybody to be like, oh my God, you are so right.
I totally get it now.
It's like.
It's nuts. It's
speechless.
Right. It is crazy. Oh, and also just a side note on Robin Williams, being the top man.
Yeah.
Because he is part of the Galactic A-team that we were kind of,
touching on.
And they have this, it's like a poster with like cut out pieces of paper of people who are part of the Galactic A-team. And they say that it's like people who are dead, but that's not totally true because Donald Trump is on it and he's, I think her quote is something like, he's still in the physical, but whatever.
Yeah, you have to be connected to him somehow. I mean.
Okay, right. But so I'm just going to go through, they have a list. There's a list on Reddit. They have 48 people.
Oh, okay. No wonder there's a chart.
Right.
How else are you going to remember?
Well, and so the picture is like Mother God is the biggest photo.
Right. Of course.
And then you have Robin, who is right next to her and the second largest person on there. So Robin, he's the top dog.
The right-hand man.
Yeah. Let's see here. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston,
Duh.
Steve Irwin.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prince, John Lennon, Carrie Fisher, David Bowie, Tupac, Patrick Swayze, Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah. Kobe was early 2020s, so he's a new one up there.
Yep, he is. Bob Marley. Oh, Walt Disney.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot more, but those are just some of the ones that really stuck out to me. Yeah. But you kind of,
You get the point.
It's the Galactic A-team. There's nothing else to it.
Send that to me.
I
will put it on our Patreon for our patrons to go and witness.
Well, and anyone that, you don't have to be part of our Patreon. Yeah. You can still just go on there and see the post.
Right. Exactly.
So the Galactic A-team are
and those are kind of like their spirit guides, right?
Kind of. And Amy does this thing where she goes into etheric meetings. Okay. And to an untrained eye, it looks like she's just sleeping. But really, she's meeting with the Galactic A-team.
Got it.
To get directions and discuss topics and
important
everything.
Mother God things.
Right.
Yeah. So now you guys understand the severity of their mission here on Earth. Because they're still going.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, we'll get to that later, but okay.
All right, so now you know a little bit about what the cult is, what their belief is. And so now let's get into who Mother God is. So Amy Carlson was born on November 30th, 1975. Amy came from divorced parents who would later remarry, and after her parents split, she went back and forth between their homes in Kansas and in Oklahoma City. Amy and her sister claimed that they were being abused by their stepmother, so they would eventually just stay with their mother and stepfather. They were a middle-class family who later made the move to Dallas, Texas, where Amy would attend school. She sang in the choir, and she was just an overall good student before she relocated to Houston. Now, as an adult, Amy had 3 children by 3 different partners. She worked as a manager of a McDonald's. In 2006, she found herself on a website called lightworkers.org after quitting her job at McDonald's, and a year later, in 2007, Amy left her 3rd husband and her children and ceased all contact with almost all of her family members. At the time of her cult leadership, she was 45 years old, and here is a description of her journey written in her own words in 2016.
Again, it doesn't make sense.
It's not meant to make sense.
So just,
But it'll at least give you a peek into what her mindset is, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to read the entire thing because it's a lot. It's a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of nonsense, and I don't want to read too much into the crazy.
Right. But you need to get this will give you a very solid taste of the type of crazy.
Yes, exactly. And she starts by explaining that in 1975, the year she was born as the first experimental crystal child, meaning that she couldn't be programmed or conditioned like normal humans. Wow. She explains how her role in this life is to create a pathway for consciousness for the awakening of the planet. Then she says, quote, "In 2005, I quit my 15-year career to be a stay-at-home mom. 2 months after my son was born, I was laying him down for a nap, and Archangel Michael appeared over his crib. He said, 'It's time,' and then disappeared. Wow. So I went outside at that moment and said to Love, 'I don't know what you want me to do. I have no clue, but whatever it is, I completely surrender.' As I said this, all of a sudden, the sun to my left magnetized to my heart.
Right.
And then a huge river appeared out of my third eye. So I jumped into the river. This was the beginning of bringing the oneness energies or balanced harmonics back into planet Earth equals heart."
Right.
What? Okay.
Yep.
2 days later, I began receiving visions. My first vision was Adam and Eve making love. This went on for a week until I could not see out of my physical eyes and asked the angels what was going on. They told me to write the vision down. As soon as I did, it disappeared. The second thing was that the angels told me at this time I was the mother of all mothers, but I did not know what they were talking about, so I just wrote that down and let it go. The third vision I had was I saw myself guiding a whole bunch of people out of the darkness." End quote. So, according to Amy, those were the visions she had received that started all of her curiosity about this so-called awakening that she was meant to experience and lead people to. And then she talks about an incident she had where she's standing in a bookstore in 2006, and a book flies off from the shelf in front of her and lands right at her feet. The book was...
just like the movies.
Yeah. I mean, it's... You're awakening. What else do you expect? It can't be an ordinary event. So the book that flew off the shelf, supposedly, was a book by Lee Carroll. I'm not exactly sure the name of the book, but it had to do with Cryon. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but it has to be because this guy only writes about Cryon. He has 14 books specifically on that topic. Another little index break here.
Sorry.
Cryon is some type of entity, okay?
Okay.
I don't know what his purpose is, but he is an entity.
He's an entity. And
that reveals himself to people. Yes. Okay. So, again, if you're trying to make sense of it, please save yourself the trouble. It's not meant to make sense.
Great.
But anyways, Amy says this book flew off the shelf, landed at her feet. She took this as a sign to buy the book, and 2 months later, this entity, Cryon, revealed himself to her over the next 7 months. Mm-hmm. She says that 5 months later, she had begun going through a series of processes to awaken into full consciousness. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like we already touched on. There's a lot more There's a lot more than that. I'm going to tell you just a little bit more.
Right.
This is the last thing that I'll share from Amy's account of this whole ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
She says, quote, "As this was going on for me, Robin Williams dies. The day he died, we did not have internet, and so we were searching for a Wi-Fi spot. 8 hours later, we get a signal. The computer takes us directly to see Robin had died, and then we lost the signal."
Yeah, it's a pretty big thing. Internet's probably gonna just
throw that out there. It's like the
big
top
headline
headline for a while, you know?
Yep, but you know.
But then 20 minutes later, Robin is standing in her bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, 20 minutes later, Robin is standing in my bedroom. He was wearing a khaki shirt and khaki pants with his hands in his pockets, rocking back and forth. He told me he had been murdered.
Mm.
We had a brief conversation about his movies.
Of course.
Yeah, it's Robin Williams. And then he asked me for the records for the mission. We have 10 years worth of documentation. I gave him full permission, and he came back to me 2 hours later saying he would like to be a part of the team.
Right, of course.
I said, "That is awesome, Robin, but you just left your body. Aren't there things you need to be doing?" He said, "Oh, yes, right." He left, came back 3 days later, and has been here ever since. Robin is the master surgeon from the other side. I'm sorry, we gave him the incorrect title. He's the master surgeon.
Okay.
Now he has gathered an entire Galactic A-team to support us all. He is also a personal guide alongside Master Saint Germain. End quote. It's a lot.
Okay. Before we move on, right? So that is how she explains everything on their Love Has Won website.
Right. That's her testimony.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'd like to just share the way I see it.
Please do.
So, in the documentary Love Has Won on Prime, or Max, whatever, I don't know. She said that she tried ecstasy for the first time, and that 20 minutes in, she was like, "Wow, this is reality. Did they take that from me? Who stole it?" So after that one trip, I think that she just had a really big itch for spirituality.
Yeah.
She wanted to have that feeling again. She found herself digging around on the internet for like-minded people, which is when she found herself on lightworkers.org, and it all exploded from there.
Yep. I 100% agree.
Yeah, that's...
And I think when you have, maybe some undiagnosed mental illness mixed in with some drug use, it's a slippery slope. And I could understand how, how do you get from point A to point B? Well, there you go. That's your recipe right there.
Right.
So,
and then going and finding like-minded people.
Yeah. To back up your claims and really, cheer you on.
You get it too. You
understand. What is she constantly saying?
You are brilliant.
Yes.
That's what she says right before she declares a new father god.
Yeah. So Amy's on this Lightworker site, and she connects with a man named Amaranth White Eagle, and he's pretty much an old hippie. Mm-hmm. During their chats, he convinced Amy that she was divine, and he held this belief that everyone was their own father or mother god. But after this, Amy started to claim that she was experiencing paranormal phenomena. One instance specifically is when she claimed to hear a voice telling her that she would become president of the United States one day.
Maybe she just got herself confused with Donald.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is.
Right?
There's a lot of moving parts.
You're so right. But yeah, Amy and Amaranth, they were going back and forth, sharing a lot of information together online, and they created a website together called the Galactic Free Press. Some people joined their online community, and that's when Amy met a man named Miguel. Miguel strongly believed that Amy had cured his cancer during one of their online sessions.
Etherical surgery.
Yes. So he took a train from New York to Colorado to meet Amy, and shortly after they met in person, she and Miguel went to Mount Shasta in California and left Amaranth behind. Amy and Miguel get a house in the mountains and continue working to expand their website. Then along comes Andrew, Andrew was struggling with a painkiller addiction and was trying to figure life out. He began looking into conspiracy theories online, which led him down a rabbit hole where he found Amy's videos. They began talking online, which led to her telling him that the angel spoke to her and told her that he was needed there immediately, and so he came. He showed up at the house to find Miguel and Amy tripping on shrooms, and he joined in on the trip. He said the next thing he remembers was coming to and Amy telling him that he was brilliant. And to let her know when he was ready to make love.
Yeah, you brilliant being.
So Andrew, he's really enjoying himself. And he was giving his $700 a week unemployment check to Miguel, who started managing the cult's finances, for the three of them to live off from. And just like that, Amy named Andrew the new Father God.
Wow.
Andrew had a background in marketing and helped take their site to the next level. It was his idea to change the name to Love Has Won. Amy started offering spiritual healings online, which made a lot of money. Everything was great, except that Andrew was feeling weird about this whole mother/father God thing. He saw that she was living a lie. She said she had no problems, but then would drink herself into oblivion every single night. He tried to help her out of it, but unfortunately, Amy and Miguel confronted him, saying that he either needed to stop saying that Amy wasn't God, or he needed to leave, and so he left. And now, Amy needed to find a new Father God.
She on the hunt, on the prowl.
So, more people came to live with Amy and Miguel as their website continued to grow. They quickly had a house full of believers. Amy was sitting next to a new member named John, who had recently retired from the military and was looking for the light in the world.
Right.
And suddenly she stopped, looked at him, and told him that he was brilliant. And that was the birth of the third Father God. And then we have Alex. Alex was a husband and father who left his wife and children and six-figure job to join this cult.
Okay, first of all, just to leave your wife and children is huge. And then, on top of that,
you're making $100,000 plus a year.
Right.
You're just going to walk away from it.
And you're just like, good luck, family. Like,
heinous.
I've got a new family now.
I am like, what's the thought process behind that?
I can't even fathom that much
conclusion?
Like manipulation to get someone to do that. It's nuts.
Yeah. Like, how do you get to that point?
I don't know.
Insane.
It is.
It's so insane. And then to be done like this by these people that you left your family for.
I know.
And your job.
It is. It's really sad. It's horrible.
It is. So Alex was found wandering in the wilderness, naked and alone, with cactus needles in his feet. I guess Jason Castillo, Father God, had kicked him out and told him that he had 3 days to, quote, fight the darkness. The group said that his vibes were off because he wouldn't stop talking. So they kicked him out and they just let him wander around in the mountains. But thankfully, he was picked up by his brother and brought back to his family. It's a scary situation.
It is.
And then he put his family in debt by making so many donations to the cult. Like, absolutely wild. I would never, as his wife, I would never be able to get over that.
No.
Like, how do you trust someone after that?
No.
It's insane. So, and then when we discussed this earlier, you mentioned Crystal Reisinger's disappearance.
Right. From Up and Vanished.
Season 2.
Right.
And it's interesting because she's been missing since 2016 in Crestone, where all of this is happening.
Right.
And she moved there. Didn't she move there specifically to join, like, this new age community?
Yeah, I mean, she was very, what is the word I'm looking for?
Like, spiritual?
Yeah. She was all about the new age spiritual awakening. And Crestone is known to be, like, this spiritual place. Like, there's a lady who is a writer for their local newspaper, and it's funny. She says something like, I don't like saying I am a hippie, but I consider myself a mix between a redneck and a hippie. She's funny, but she has a lot of good information.
Yeah.
And she says that a lot of people see Crestone as one of the places that the veil is thin.
Interesting.
Yes.
I wonder why.
I don't know
where that belief came from.
I don't know, but that is known.
It's a breeding ground for the occult in this case.
Totally.
Then. So I was reviewing her case right before we started recording this episode, and I saw that Crystal actually disappeared during a full moon drum circle. How does that occur? How do you just go missing like while you're drumming in a circle with other people during a full moon?
Right. And there's no solid evidence at all that she was involved with this cult.
Right.
Right. But I mean, there's just a lot of speculation because the timeline adds up. The place adds up.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Right.
And people just say that she was involved with people who were in the
Love
cult.
Has Won cult.
Right.
Okay, interesting.
So, again, just another little tidbit to chew on. Just very,
and I think
very interesting.
We should do a deep dive into that in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, in the meantime, it is Up and Vanish season 2. Like, he obviously dedicates a lot of time into investigating.
Yeah, he goes there.
Exactly.
He does his Payne Lindsay thing where he's freaking unbelievably awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out. But
yeah,
just
it's still
side
interesting
nugget for this story that just kind of fits in.
For sure. So yeah, all while this is happening, the website is growing more and more each day. Amy delegated her online spiritual healings that were now called what'd you call them?
Etheric surgeries.
Etheric surgeries.
Just like etheric meetings.
Yeah, okay.
Etheric.
All right. I see.
They like that word.
Yeah, so she also had the other members doing online shows selling things like hoodies and crystals, shampoos, and colloidal silver, which is a really big deal to them.
Mm-hmm.
They literally started making this themselves. It's, it's something, it's been used for thousands of years, but it had a hard decline in the 1940s when antibiotics came out, and the FDA has since banned it for any medical... What did I say? FDI? What the fuck?
I don't know.
The FDA, excuse me, banned it for any medical or therapeutic uses, but people still sell it as a dietary supplement. So,
yeah.
So now it is 2018, and more people continue to join the house, including Jason Castillo, who we mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
A few days after arriving, Jason fixed a lamp that he noticed was broken.
Oh my God. Jason, you fixed this lamp.
You are brilliant. So, guess what happens next? She announced that Father God John was actually Father Multiverse.
Oh, sorry. Oops. Quick, slip
Just
up.
a oopsie.
Oopsies.
And Jason was actually Father God.
Right.
So, and he would be the last Father God. Two other main players in this story are women named Aurora and Hope. Aurora's real name is Lauren, and she was actually a law school graduate, but she started to believe that she was an archangel after meeting with one of the cult members. And she hosts this daily show with her co-host, Hope, whose real name is Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley had her relationship and job end, so when she came across the Love Has Won cult online, I guess it was a sign for her, and she just really got sucked into it.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, she's binge drinking a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and she would pass out early every single night, but this is a strange rule. I'm trying to figure out why, but her followers were not allowed to sleep before midnight.
Because that's what cults do. Sleep deprivation.
Interesting point. You're right. Never thought of it.
But I mean, it's so simple. But
psychology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't sleep. Stay
just party
here.
and
do whatever I say.
Yeah.
Drugs. But then they had drugs weren't allowed.
Really? How is that?
Dude, I do not know.
But that was one of their rules was that they weren't allowed to do drugs.
But then they grew their own marijuana.
So they must not consider that
no.
drugs.
See, but that's the thing. That's a medicine. Alcohol.
Same with
shrooms
because it's natural.
Yep.
It grows in the ground. Okay. I can whatever. All right. So Jason would stay up with the followers, and he naughty.
Naughty.
He started doing meth.
Meth is not a medicine.
He would lash out into fits of rage every single night, and after a while of this, Amy decided they were going to leave for Oregon.
There's a video on the documentary, and it's because you got to remember they're putting tons and tons of footage on YouTube of everything that's going on.
Right.
And so you should really watch the documentary if you're really interested, because you can see so much, and it is nuts. But in this video, it's like, so Amy's passed out, and they're all like hanging out in this room, listening to like this really like chill music and hanging out, whatever. And all of a sudden, Jason like gets up and like changes the music to like hardcore heavy metal, and it's like, yeah, this is what I want to listen to.
Yeah, he's just
fucking raging, God. He is an absolute nutcase. One of the cult members has a quote where he says, "See, people think that Amy's crazy, but Jason is crazy."
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's doing meth. I mean, come on.
That'll do it.
So Amy decides they're going to leave for Oregon, but Jason cannot come. He has to stay back. She told him that if he was really Father God, that he would make it back to them. And so 24 days later, he showed up. He made it back to her. He
hitchhiked and
he fulfilled his prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
After a few weeks, they ended up moving into a house, and a few days in, one of the members named Erin, she said she was called to burn sage in their new home, and the house went up in flames. Hope said she ran into the kitchen. She saw her laptop, but instead chose to grab Mom's vodka and ice. But remember, they don't believe that
it's her medicine. It's keeping her alive.
She's not an alcoholic.
Right. To an untrained eye.
One might think
here.
This is severe alcoholism, but really, it's just her medicine.
And they say, I've never seen anyone be able to drink the amount that she drinks and be as cohesive as she is. And it's like, yeah, that's what happens when you build out.
When you're an alcoholic.
Like, you got this huge tolerance.
No, it's because she's Mother God. God damn it.
God damn it. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then also another little comment about Erin, who lit the house on fire.
Yeah.
In the documentary, it's like, whenever she is like just her being asked questions or something, she looks like she is on the verge of tears whenever she speaks. And they like ask her name, and she's like, what's in a name, really?
Do we know anything about her story? Like
a little bit. She came with her kids. Yeah.
She joined the cult with her kids?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a whole other side that I don't think we're going to get much into, because a lot of it is, they're minors, so it's hard to get information about it. But there are kids that are in this household while this shit is going on.
Oh
yes.
My God.
But luckily, Erin's mom came and picked them up.
Okay. Well,
and took them away. Right. But she says after she lit the house on fire, she went up to Mother God and was like, Mother, I'm sorry, it was me. And Mother says, I know, bitch, the angels told me.
What?
And then she just laughs.
Oh my God. No words.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Just more little nuggets that I'm dropping in there.
So after the house fire, they moved back to Colorado, and Amy's health was in a decline, and she was often in these etheric meetings.
Etheric meetings, right, where she's meeting with the Galactic A-Team, but to an untrained eye, she's sleeping.
Exactly. So, and Amy said that Robin told her she needed to be 103 pounds in order for the Galactics to come pick her up for her ascension. She was hardly eating, but she was still drinking massive amounts of alcohol and ingesting this colloidal silver every single day, which made her start to turn blue.
Yeah.
It's a haunting image. I will post pictures on Patreon. It is so scary to see a human being in that state.
Yeah, and
She looks like the blood has been drained out of her body.
She looks like an alien.
Yeah, she's like, her skin is like, it looks, I can't even describe it. It's just so surreal.
It is. And you can see in the documentary, like, the last episode, so I guess it's a docuseries, whatever.
Yeah.
But you really start to see in the videos her health declining, and it is just shocking. She has no meat on her bones whatsoever, and she's turning blue, and they eventually, like, put her in a wheelchair because she's too
frail.
And, oh yeah, she becomes paraplegic from the waist down.
Like, legit?
Well, it's like something that can happen with your nerves from drinking so fucking much.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
but all of that was just, it was just her
it's
battling.
The ascension coming.
Yeah, it's her battling all of mankind's issues.
It's a lot of weight to carry, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, like you said, the wheelchair, Jason would also just, like, pick her up and bring her wherever she needed to go. They'd just carry her around. And all of this was, you know, basically due to her liver failing.
Right.
But it's, you know, it's all part of her message to her followers that
she's
she needs
on
to take on the world's pain.
Right.
And it was pretty clear to everyone that Amy didn't have much longer here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The Galactics told them that they needed to go to Hawaii next. And when they got there, Amy made the mistake of claiming to be Pele, which is the Hawaiian goddess of volcanoes and fire, and the creators of the island. And Hawaiians did not respond very kindly.
I freaking love this part. They were like, absolutely not fucking having it. Like, your type of crazy is not tolerated here.
Yeah, no, good on them.
How dare you?
Yeah, good on them for just, you know, standing up and not tolerating it.
Yeah.
So they protested outside of her house with megaphones, and they threw eggs. They broke the back of the windshield out of her car. And the mayor of Hawaii pretty much told Amy that he couldn't protect her, and they got on a plane and left. So they go back to Colorado, and this is when Amy's health dramatically takes a turn for the worst. The Galactics told Amy that she needed to go back to Mount Shasta.
So they are just going all over.
To me, like, this makes me think, is this like her last ditch effort to just convince these people to allow her to, like, live the life that she wants before, because she knows she's going to die.
Yeah, I don't know. But then also, like
to go to Hawaii from Colorado.
But, okay, so one of the theories for that is that they were, instead of the Galactics coming down from space, they were going to come up from the ocean and take her that way. Okay. And then Mount Shasta is another place where the veil is thin. I
have heard that one.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of these places that they're going have spiritual significance.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm sure she probably also held that belief of, like, the conspiracy theory that what is it? It's like aliens actually come from the ocean and not space type of thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's just a whole bag of,
again.
Yeah.
No sense to be made. So yeah, she would go to Mount Shasta with some of her members, and they just spent every day trying to ease her pain while they were there. And the others, like Hope and Aurora, stayed in Colorado to continue running their show and earning money, which, you know, the whole Mount Shasta thing didn't last long. Supposedly the Galactics told Amy she needed to go back to Oregon. And again, Hope and Aurora felt that this wasn't a good idea. What's the end game here? You know,
that's what
they were thinking, you know.
The two of them are like best friends. They spend like pretty much every waking minute with each other doing this show and everything. And they find out that, you know, they see her in this horrible state. And then like, okay, now we're going to Oregon. Like,
yeah,
And they just looked at each other like, what is the end game here?
Right. Like what are we trying to achieve?
Because I think they thought that the people who are with her, like Jason and Faith, were trying to like keep her alive, like keep her in the physical, when Hope and Aurora were like, no, like she needs to ascend.
Yeah. It's kind of confusing because it's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
But, you know, the two of them, Hope and Aurora, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They asked the angels if they should go to Oregon, and they were told yes. So the two of them went on their own without telling anyone else. So Hope and Aurora show up in Oregon, and when they arrive, they find Amy in critical condition, and at 6 that evening, she succumbed to her illness. But they were confused because the Galactics didn't come to take her physical body. They didn't know what they were supposed to do with it. So they continued giving her water. The image of this is so creepy to me. I can't get it out of my head. They are giving this woman's body water. They're giving her the colloidal silver. They're taking care of her vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And they're moving her body, her joints, holding her hands. But soon the hotel staff wanted to check in with her to see how she was doing. So they panicked and they moved the body to a forest in Oregon where they camped. And then the rest of the members came to join them. But they're all out there in the forest waiting for a spaceship of Galactics to come and pick Amy's body up, but they never came. And they're like, what do we do?
We're not prepared for this.
Yeah, we were instructed on this part. So Jason woke up one morning and he sent the group to go out and do laundry and get food. And he had this plan that he was going to move Amy's body back to Colorado. And the Galactics, you know, they would just tell him along the way what his next step was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So Father, who is Jason, Father Multiverse, which is John, and another woman named Elle.
It's a guy.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry.
Another member named Elle. I put member in there. I don't know why I said woman. Okay. I think I'm thinking of Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. Another member named Elle got in the car and drove back to Colorado without telling anyone what they were doing. They drove across 5 state lines with a dead body in the back that was wrapped in a sleeping bag with Christmas lights strung around it. And the rest of the group comes back to the campsite and they're like, where are they? What happened? And I need to know, was their first thought, the Galactics came.
They took
her.
Jason
and Jason. And
they took Father and Multiverse and Elle.
Oh my God. They knew that Michael had pulled. Michael is Miguel, correct?
Right.
You know, Archangel Michael had pulled $200,000 out of the bank a few days prior.
He's still in Crestone, and he's still
like managing the finances.
Money. Yes.
So they actually just assumed that they'd gone back to stop him from pulling the rest of Amy's money out now that she was no longer with them. Mm-hmm. So the 3 men and this corpse arrive back to their home in Crestone.
Which Michael owns.
Okay, yep. They were settling in. Michael walks in, and that's when we get to the very beginning of our episode today. He went to the police, and the police walked in to find a mummified corpse that had passed away about 12 days prior.
12 days.
12 days of adorning this corpse.
Sleeping with it. Touching it. Giving it.
It's horrifying. And they have a body cam video of when they find Amy's corpse. I'm going to have to share that on our Patreon for our subscribers because it's really something. Like they've put glitter on her sunken in eyes.
Yeah. So she really looks like an alien.
It doesn't look real.
No.
It's like something out of a movie, but this is real life.
Right. And you see the officers go into this room and there's just all of these Christmas lights all over the walls and on this bed, sleeping bags, again, surrounded by more Christmas lights.
How?
And
eerie.
Right. Like, looking at it, it takes, at least me, it took me, like, a second to, like, figure out.
To register that that's
right. Because it
person.
looks like it's, like, just a hole, like a black hole. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, fuck, that is a body. That is a face.
So creepy.
It
What the
is. It is. It's so scary.
So if you're wondering what the outcome of all of this is, the charges against all of the cult members here have been dropped. The group does still continue. They've since changed their name to 5D Full Disclosure.
Yeah. So I went on a deep dive because at first I was on their Love Has One website.
Yeah.
But then
so now they have like
I figured
a new
out
thing.
that they have, yes, a new website called, right, the 5D Full Disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to check that out, it's a whole...
Be my guest.
Yeah. They do a daily disclosure show, just like they were doing before.
With Hope and Aurora.
Right. But they were just, like, putting it on YouTube and stuff. But they had to stop putting it on YouTube and make it, you have to pay. It's $11.11 a month to access these videos.
Angel numbers.
Right. Yeah, they are. Yeah. And she says, like, on their website, it's a quote, "However, we had reached a point where we were consistently being censored for our work, and we lost many of our platforms due to speaking the truth. In 2021, we decided to move our show to a subscription-based platform in order to allow ourselves full space to share truth and to speak openly without censorship."
Exclamation point.
Ah! Our uncensored disclosure show covers every topic, from politics to international news to social and economic issues, spirituality, God, disclosure, collective consciousness, ascension updates, and more. Our dream has always been to provide the full, whole truth, completely uncensored. Our mission is to bring disclosure, as well as joy, laughter, and transformation.
Wow.
So, they still at it.
And that's today, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Yeah. So, there's that.
There's that. Well, it's like, it makes me wonder, now that Amy is no longer here, they just worship her as a deity?
I think so.
Okay.
Well. But, I'm not claiming to know anything that is, because they still have, like, an About Mom section.
So the basis for their cult / religion is still that Amy was Mother God.
Right.
Or that she still is. Sorry, not
right.
was.
Right. She just,
Which one of us is going to sign up for the subscription?
I thought about it. I was like...
Just for entertainment purposes.
I'm just curious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but seriously, the 3-part docuseries on Max.
Worth checking out.
Oh my god, it is so good because it has, again, so many videos of them. Yeah. So you can see and hear them as they really were. And it is...
Yeah, you're like
it is shocking.
All laid out as it's happening.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, reality is fucking crazier than
fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check that out and then make sure to go to our Patreon. We'll put some case information up and we'll put those pictures and,
Galactic
just as much as I can find.
Yeah.
So, and that is patreon.com/oddities on Elm Street. Well, that's all we have for our episode today. Thank you guys so much for being here and listening to us. Make sure you, follow our podcast if you want to get updates to see when we're posting new content. And then go to our Patreon to see exclusive content that you can't find anywhere else.
That's right.
And that'll be it for today. I hope you all have a lovely week. And remember to always keep it spooky.